Hey, what's up, Steve B?
What's up, Steve T or Magento Steve?
Yes.
But I'm like I said, if I give you that name, it's gonna be Super Magento Steve for me.
Oh,
Just,
okay.
just be ready for the consequences.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm waffling on if that's how I'm going to brand myself as Magento Steve or not.
The
Um, Maybe I'll be like the Magento Monster, or
Magento Monster.
yeah,
Okay.
Magent. Something else. Maybe that way we could both have ones, and you'll be like the Magento Maniac or something.
Interesting. No, I guess we could go in that direction.
Yeah.
uh, I like the artwork in the back there.
Oh, yeah. You like it? Here's Skeeter is there too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is that from like Basquiat or some famous artist? no,
No, that's actually from Nickelodeon.
no, no, no,
Um,
no. I mean, I know, I recognize the characters. I mean,
oh, okay.
who made the artwork?
Me.
Oh wow, I didn't know you were.
This green one, the green Hey Arnold is my wife. She tried to copy my
Oh
blue
wow,
one. Yeah,
you guys are both talented, like Beyonce and Jay Z or something.
right?
But
Yes.
just for drawing the dynamic duo.
Yeah. Maybe I should be Magento Jay-Z,
I like it. I like it.
Magento Kanye.
I don't know. I don't know if you want to go with Kanye. He's a little bit too crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of implications and things tied in with that.
Yeah. But next thing you know, you're going to be running for president.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so you're taking the title Best Dad Ever also?
I was given this title. Okay,
Oh.
sir. You don't just buy yourself a mug like
You,
this.
you don't, you just throw this out there like it's like we're not even close to Father's Day or anything.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
right.
just.
I don't know. I mean, I'm probably not the best dad ever. Don't. It was funny. We were interviewing somebody, and he said, "What was he saying?" Oh, he goes, because he was like on the other side of the world, and we were saying, "Could you work our hours?" He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah. I prefer, even if I'm not asked to work the night shift, I prefer to work the night shift. That way, I don't have to like watch my kid or something like that."
Oh,
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, that way, it's like I'm not bothered by my kid." I was like, "Whoa, that's that's an amazing thing to say." Hardcore, top quality dadmanship right there.
I mean, I don't think that's what he meant, but
Yeah, no, there were a couple of different interpretations of what that actually meant,
yeah.
but
But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, if he's working up all night, he's probably sleeping in the daytime. So when is he going to interact with his son or kid?
yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
it might just be one of those things where it's like they live in a really small place, so he's literally saying like, "I can't possibly work while my kid is right here, so I have to do it at night." But I don't know. It was an interesting one. It sounded to me like he was basically saying, it's easier if I just sleep while my kid's awake, or else I don't
yeah.
know. Who
Maybe
knows?
maybe his kid's a menace. Maybe he's a great dad.
You're right. You're right. I mean,
Maybe his kid stresses him out.
yes, and that's the topic. Just like if you were running for president as Kanye, it would be stressful.
Yeah, definitely. Um, some jobs are definitely. I mean, most of the time when you're in a stressful job, you get paid. You're getting paid a pretty good amount, right? But it still doesn't help with the stress.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. I've been in stressful jobs where I'm not getting paid that much.
well, customer service, I would say
Oh,
definitely could. But I think software development in general is it can be stressful, right?
I would agree
Uh,
with that.
and then having working specifically in M2 can be stressful because Magento is just I don't know, super complicated. At least in the definitely in the beginning, going through that learning curve and having deadlines, etc. Can bring on some of that pressure that leads to stress. I mean, over since you have a lot more experience than me, what would you say are some stress triggers to working as an M2 dev?
Okay, so here's the thing: like the more you know about something, then the less likely it will be that you will end up in a position where you're feeling a lot of pressure um, or stress. Um, so, I mean, like there's a couple of things that lead to stress in web development in general, or especially Magento 2. Um, it's like, first of all, if there's some problem with the live website, that is immediate. Code red,
Oh
stress
yeah,
is at the very top. I think we all know that. That's like a bug on prod. Let's all freak out. Um, and
especially if it's in checkout.
yeah, something that's affecting customers' ability to buy stuff is really bad. Um, especially since we work in e-commerce, that's how you make your money. Um,
Yes.
I mean, the thing about it though is like, I mean, stress. Oh man, have you ever seen the IT Crowd? Have you ever seen that show, IT Crowd?
No.
The boss comes in and he's like
What's
he's
that
like
show?
the boss of IT, and he's like talking to the whole company though, and he's like, if anybody is stressed at the end of the day, you'll be fired. Are you feeling stressed? You feel stressed? Yeah, stressed? And so it's kind of like a self-fulfilling. I don't know. I just thought that was funny.
So you're
I don't
not
know.
allowed to feel stress? That sounds like a stressful situation.
Yes, you should watch IT Crowd. It was
The
very funny.
inability to express that you feel stress would bring me stress.
Oh yeah. Well, but and so here's a couple of other things I've noticed. Poor planning almost always leads to stress. So, I mean, so I think there's either like you've either been working at web development or Magento 2 for a long, long time, and you no longer feel stressed because you've seen like every situation and you're kind of just hovering above it, and look, they could fire me, they could freak out, they could do whatever they want. I'm secure. I'll find a different job. I'm not going to worry too much about this. But still, you like, let's say you've introduced the bug that's causing production to fail. You'll still have that like cold sweat and like, oh my gosh. I don't know if I've done that in a really long time, but whatever you're kind of sort of at least
Oh, so you
involved
were
in.
messing up stuff in the beginning.
Oh, back in the day, yeah, of course.
Just breaking stuff.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, for sure. Like, I think the thing is, a lot of times you assume that, oh, if I make this change here, it's just a cosmetic thing, right? There could be zero consequences to this. And you just hit the button and then the next day it's like, well, conversion's down by X amount and we lost X amount of dollars. And you're just wondering, oh man, are we gonna take this one like as a team, or are they just gonna point fingers at you and be like, well, Steve T's the one that did it, and we're gonna fire him and basically just like crucify you, right? Like we have to make an example out of someone. Um, so so yeah, that I agree. That is definitely stressful. For me, uh, what has been kind of a stressor for me lately is a similar situation.
It's the
Uh,
mold.
yes, the mold, and that is why I'm not home, and why I am in a different uh,
No way.
place right now. But the good news is I found a new place, and I will be moving in about 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah. But we won't get into that.
But that's a stressful situation, I'm sure.
Yes, that was a stressful situation. Um, but what I was getting to was right now our staging environment is pretty much an exact copy of production, with the exception of traffic, right? And we still haven't, since we have a very small team, we still haven't created some performance testing strategy or mechanism, right, to know whether or not something that works perfectly in staging will blow up production. So that's one of the biggest concerns at the forefront of my head, because our site is kind of hefty. Our product catalog is really huge, and it's like the product itself is just super complex in terms of like, so since it's so customizable that our database could easily be overwhelmed, and then we have so many um, APIs that live outside of Magento that we could easily make too many requests to and basically blow them up. So yeah, definitely once I can iron that out, it'll be less of a stressor, but that's always at the forefront of my head when it comes to deployment time. But with that, I think deployments in general are stressful, right? What do you think?
Nah. I mean, so I did at first. I think it's funny that for you, stress testing, the fact that you can't stress test is stressful. Those
Yeah.
somehow that's all connected just because of the word stress. No.
Yep.
No. For me, especially lately, deployments have not been stressful. Um, I mean, we do a lot of QA, and like you said, we have an exact copy on our um, staging environment. So yeah, I haven't found um, in the last probably almost a year now, maybe more like 9 months, 6 months.
I've only
That
been gone about 7 months, so I think you're exaggerating there, buddy.
yeah, but I mean, even then, like I'm trying to think. Um, I just because I guess here's the thing is that like as a front end developer, right?
uh,
Like if something goes wrong during deployment or whatever is happening with infrastructure or the database, let's say, I mean, I'm just kind of not,
it's
you
not
know,
my problem.
I it's I mean, because my deployments are like, we use patches to update CMS blocks or pages. We update JavaScript and uh, CSS with the less files. I would know if my code had caused a failed deployment on staging. And so, yeah, I mean, deployment is kind of just like, okay, the thing that I guess there is a stressful couple of hours after a deployment where it's like possibly something we released is somebody out there is going to see a bug that we didn't catch. So we
Yeah.
might have to do a hot fix. But I don't know, man. It's just not that stressful for me. I know, like the big worry I would think you're talking about as far as stress is that we're gonna really mess up the site with this deployment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's
And I think you're kind of right. For front end dev, unless you made changes to checkout, there aren't any, like if it's just stylistic changes or unless it's something that can actually like block customer purchases, right? Obviously, nobody wants the site to look ugly or for a page or something not function correctly. But most of the time,
Well,
it's
but
not going to bring down the entire site.
even if it is checkout
Yeah.
update, right?
Yeah.
Like we tested it thoroughly,
Yeah.
put it live. Like let's just see. Like
Yeah.
I think it works. Put it out there. Hey, look, it works. Or we're getting this report of this bug. Okay, now we have to fix it in this way or
Yeah.
whatever. Like I still don't see that as necessarily stressful.
Yeah.
It's not good if a bug like that happens. Um, and I guess that kind of leads me to something I don't want to say I'm like some sort of sociopath or something, and I don't ever feel stress.
I think
Um,
you are, but we'll have that discussion offline.
I guess for me, and maybe this is just a personal thing or whatever. I don't necessarily connect like stressful environments and things that are happening to like myself and kind of what I'm giving to it and what I'm able to do. So like what I have noticed though is because stress is like a physical thing, and so eventually I think it kind of catches up with me as far as like maybe I'm suppressing or bottling it up or something that I'm just not like directly connecting, and then eventually like a month ago I got hives, so these little red dots started showing up on me,
Uh-huh.
and I wasn't stressed at all. Like I had nothing even high priority going on. And so I'm like, is it allergic? Is it stress? I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I do like, I definitely, when I'm learning something new and especially like, because when I took my last job at the agency that everybody was new to Magento 2, right? Like Magento 2 had just came out, and we had some big clients that needed Magento 2 shops. So it's like when Magento 2 first came out and you have the like professional responsibility to provide a high quality product, that was, I would say, probably my most stressful time in a long time, because you just don't, how can you possibly already know everything you need to know? The product just came out. Like,
Yeah, and then clients are asking you questions and you have to give estimates, and based on those estimates you have deadlines, right?
Yep.
And you're like, well, I think this is how much it's gonna this is how long it's gonna take, but I've never done this thing before, so I could
Yeah.
potentially get stuck for like a couple days.
And you got to just I tried to set those realistic expectations with the people I was working with. So like the project managers, the sales team, my boss, as far as the tech CTO, like this is a new thing and my estimates, and they knew that, but you kind of just can't really say that directly to the customer. I mean, they probably should, kind of have those sort of deals where it's like, hey, this is our first couple of M2 deals, and just so you
Yeah, but
know.
sales isn't gonna say that. They're gonna be like, yeah, we're professionals, we've done this for years.
Yeah, we've been doing Magento 2 for 3 years
Steve
when it just
T,
came.
he worked at Magento. He wrote the first line of code. It was his idea.
What about you though? What would you say is like the most stressful Magento?
I would say, I mean, um, for sure when I first started, um, and I had seen far less problems than I had seen before, and it was just kind of like, a lot of crazy stuff, not directly related to me, but have like issues during deployment. For example, a database issue is definitely going to come back to the backend devs unless unless you have like a whole DevOps department or a database manager, right? So I've seen during deployments, maybe tables get locked up, and then now the deployment's taking way longer than it should. So deployments have been a stressor for me. Obviously, deadlines, and being newer to M2 at that point, um, not really, not wanting to overestimate, because then it's like, well, you don't want your boss to be like, well, why is it going to take 2 weeks? But at the same time, you don't want to say it's going to be done in one day and then shoot yourself in the foot. So I think, yeah, deadlines are definitely a big stressor. Um, and then I think in the beginning, maybe I wasn't communicating as well as I should have, right? In terms of like setting the right expectations. And if you don't set the right expectations in the beginning, um, maybe the people above you are thinking, well, this is an easy thing that's going to be done, and then you've already sold this idea or this feature, and then now you're feeling like, well, I said it was easy, but now I'm running into issues, and you feel like the pressure to deliver and not communicate the fact that you're running into things that you didn't expect. So I've kind of grown out of that with time, but for sure in the beginning, it was a bit tough to just kind of like swallow that pill. Like, well, maybe I just oversold this thing, because they're thinking, well, I gave a bad estimate. I'm gonna get fired, and things are gonna burn down, and the world is gonna end. And I just need to work day and night and every weekend to make sure I hit that deadline. But in reality, communication will communicating and setting the right expectations in the beginning will save your butt from feeling that pressure and having to work those weekends and just staying up all night. Right? What do
Yeah,
you
and I
say about
mean,
that?
I totally agree. The other part of it is it comes in a bit too. Is what team are you involved in it with? I'd say only at one job, and I won't say which one, have I had really kind of incompetent and weird coworkers, and that was super stressful. Like
Yeah.
just that it's because if you're on kind of a good team, or even if you're just basically a lone wolf, um, that's one set of things, like where the lone wolf one can be really stressful, but then being
Yeah,
on a
I've been
good
in that
team,
situation too, and that was
yeah,
super stressful. Go ahead.
yeah, no, yeah, and but being on a good team, you can kind of do the, um, you know, what can help a lot with stress is just to do planning, like you said, and kind of have the expectation set, not necessarily just by you, but like have a big planning meeting, even if the other people couldn't possibly estimate your tasks. At least have them there, and that way you run through with whoever else is on the development team or whatever, and you break your tasks down to smaller pieces. In that way, you kind of, at least that way, when you say, "Hey, actually, I think it's going to be 2 weeks," everybody can kind of look at your process of how you came up with 2 weeks, and even you can see, oh, you know, there really are a lot of pieces involved in this, and even though it's maybe a simple thing logically to do,
Yeah.
it's going to take a while to execute it.
Yeah, you had brought up a good example of some guy saying that he was going to change some light bulbs or something, right? And
Yeah,
it was supposed to take like 5 minutes, but then he had to go to the store or something, and it just hit roadblock after roadblock. And you, the point is, after you have some experience, you learn that, hey, okay, if I am working on a project that requires working with a third party, right, or with a different department, there are going to be delays in communication, right? That that maybe the project only took, I don't know, 2 hours, right, to actually implement, but because of all the, well, I don't understand this requirement, why do you need this particular thing? Or I need you to whitelist this IP address, or
Or
this
your
person.
contact is out of the office.
Exactly, the contact is out of the office, and you said, well, this would have been easy. um I think, again, in the beginning, you to in the beginning, a developer panics in those moments, right? And it just like, well, I told my boss it was going to take like X amount of time, and now this guy's out of office. But is that really? At some point, you just have to realize, well, that's not really my fault. It actually is going to take 2 hours, but this is out of my control. Um, and with time, you realize, well, okay, third parties. If there's going to be a third party involvement, I need to extend this estimate. Even if it's going to take 2 hours, it might take a day actually, or two.
Yeah, and I mean, I think no matter like if you're in a very high stress situation or not, I think it's really about how you react to it.
Yeah.
Um, Not necessarily that you need to, you know, become a sociopath or push it all down, but
Mm-hmm.
just kind of, take it in stride. Don't freak out. The world's not going to end. It's a website. Even if you're doing $1 million in sales every day,
Yeah.
nobody's going to die if the website doesn't come back online. You're not a doctor. Um, you're not a cop. You're not an EMT. You make websites. Chill
But
the F out. You
but
know?
when they how do you like when those mistakes do happen, and I don't know, finance or whoever puts out the numbers that, oh, we lost 20K because of this thing that happened, does that help at all? Because you're thinking that's 20K, but then in reality, obviously it's a lot of money, but the business is not going to die, right? And your boss is probably not going to fire you if you've been a good employee, even though
Yeah,
to
and I
you it's a
mean,
huge amount of money.
yeah, and like the main thing in a stressful situation is just to freak out, lose it. Okay, go off on people. That is how you handle it. Okay.
Well, yeah, we had a a boss that used to do that.
Yeah.
um, but yeah,
Don't do that. It's not
about
good. It's,
about coping with stressful situations. And we have been in a few situations together that could be considered stressful. But at the end of the day, what do we do? Look at the problem and try to find the most efficient solution, and just figure it out. You just gotta. At the end of the day, everything will not go perfectly. Um, and it's just the field that we chose to be in, right? We chose to
yeah.
be in a customer facing. This site has to be live all the time. Any little mistake costs money potentially. Like, that's what we chose to do, and we just have to be professionals about it and just say, okay, this problem is happening. How do we get to a solution quickly? And just kind of zone out everything else.
Yep. Yep. I mean, I blame web development for losing my hair. I'm now going gray. This is just
Really?
repress, push it down. No, I don't. This isn't even going gray. I just got a little toothpaste in my beard this morning. It's not even. Forgot to wipe it out of there.
Well, there's I was gonna say something, but I think it's gonna be
Say
too
it.
inappropriate.
Come on.
So I was watching this YouTube video about some guy who had a vasectomy.
Okay.
And he basically started saying, well, after I had the vasectomy, my wife left me, I started losing hair, I started becoming depressed. And I'm just like, man, it has nothing to do with your vasectomy. But Yeah, that's just what that reminded me of when you said web development made you lose your hair. It's just like a funny thing that this guy basically blamed everything in his life on like it's like, oh, my car broke down because I had a vasectomy. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, but so I think we had agreed to have a shorter segment today.
Shorter. Yes.
I think we're at the 30-minute
Less
mark.
less stressful. Yeah. I mean,
you're
so
you're stressed out by a 1 hour segment.
what do you recommend? Did you say like count to 10 or breathing, meditation, um,
I
drugs,
thought you had a stress
drinking?
ball one time.
Yeah, I use a little stress ball, but that's honestly for me that's more of like a fidget spinner type of
Yeah.
situation. It's not really like I don't know. Is that really? I know they're called stress balls, but that's supposed to like
Yeah. Um,
wow.
I think psychologists recommend that you like squeeze something, and I think it just flows to your hands, and yeah.
And what about exercise? Like go punch the bag, the heavy bag.
Well, I guess that would work. I've never been one of those people that has to like punch things to relieve stress. But
Oh,
I'm
I
pretty.
punch things.
You punch things.
Oh yeah.
I hope there's no holes in your
No,
walls at
no.
home.
No, no, no.
You have a boxing ring in your garage. It's like, too many bugs today.
Yeah. Hit the speed bag, the heavy bag. Yeah. I mean, I think exercise is a good way, physical activity to deal with stress. It doesn't have to necessarily be hitting something, but
Drinking some tea. I don't know if it could just be more of like a placebo, but like people drinking tea just seems so calm.
oh yeah,
So I don't know. I drink tea and it makes me calm down.
a couple of little CBD in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, calm you right down.
Well, what I think we're good for now then.
We're great. This was a great podcast. It was wonderful to talk to you, Steve B. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, toss a bell our way.
Buy a stress ball, meditate, do whatever you have to do to get through the day. And yeah, thank you for watching us for the I forget at this point, but that was my thing, right? I used to say thank you. We love and
And
appreciate
we
you if you're
love and
here
appreciate and respect and honor.
for the nth time because I don't remember
Yeah.
which episode this is.
We'll plug it
Okay.
in.
Okay, guys. Bye bye.
The Magento Guru and me, the Magento, I don't know,
Connoisseur.
the abominable Magento man.
Peace.